All right, everybody, welcome to the inaugural PQ podcast here. Got Brian Danelo, Nathan Hull, and Thomas Barrett on the mic, ready to talk some sports and hopefully make you laugh along the way.
What sports are we talking about? I don't know about any sports.
Well, Nate, let's pick a topic and get to talking here. You're our secretary.
I'm the
so
secretary.
You got the topics.
Wow, if he's the secretary,
Already?
what does that make me?
You're the treasurer. You got to count all of our money.
Oh, it's an easy job.
We have made a grand total of $0.
At this point, we're a cost center, not a profit center.
We're a startup.
Got to lay the foundation
We're a
somewhere,
startup
gentlemen.
podcast.
What do you got, Nate?
Do we got a funding? Can we do a funding round? So like my thoughts were, we're Seattle adjacent, and so we're going to talk quite a few Seattle sports, but we want to branch out a little bit too. A couple topics I had. One, the Munoz contract in Seattle. Seattle locking up another one of their young, talented players for a really affordable price. We'll get into it more later. Talk a little bit about Aaron Rodgers and then Tom Brady's struggles. Tom Brady had a Thursday night football game that was less than spectacular. And then talk
Friday
about
morning divorce.
Friday morning divorce.
You wonder why he had such a smarmy face on all game. And then talk a little bit about Geno Smith, and we might touch on Russell Wilson a little bit. I think.
I don't want to shit on Russell. I've been shitting on him too much. I got some for Gino if you guys want to start there.
And then Seahawks Giants game coming up. Who would have thought the two of the better teams in the NFC playing on the weekend?
Should touch that.
By the way,
yeah.
Quick note about that. It is the only game this weekend featuring two teams with winning records
above 500. Isn't that crazy?
That's nuts.
The Seahawks are ranked fourth, right? At 4-3. In the NFC, I believe.
Oh, correct. Yeah. It's like 9th overall or something.
Behind Dallas, Philly, and New York.
And Minnesota. But
that's right, Minnesota.
Yeah, but I mean, they're the 4th seed because they're division leader. So.
And then talk a little bit about Brian's Pick'em website, which we're all really excited about. And then maybe finish it up with a question or two, and we'll have some fun.
Did you get questions emailed to you that we can respond to?
Not yet.
No, see, that's no fun. It's got to be off the cuff.
I got something for Gino. Let me start.
Start off with Gino. That sounds great.
Really quick, Thomas, let me interject just for 1 second. I'm going to do a shameless plug here. This podcast will be on the Sports Predictions website. We will put a link up to it.
Nice.
So if anybody wants to listen to it or see our pretty faces, they will be able to see it on the Sports Predictions website.
Why don't we start there? Why don't you just talk a little bit about that? How it happened, where you came up with it?
Okay, well, I love sports, love gambling. Try to figure out a way to put it together.
Those things don't go together at all.
About January 1st last year, I started a website called sportspredictions.net. Took a little hiatus, and I just started it up with the new NBA season, predicting every NBA game, NCAA football game, NFL game. What was that?
Every game?
Every NCAA football game featuring a ranked team. Thank you.
This
for.
This must be what you're doing all day at the office.
Oh no, I'm working. NCAA football with ranked teams, NCAA basketball with ranked teams is going to be coming. I will be doing baseball next year. Got off to a late start, but I will be doing that. So
is it just you or is it somebody else? Or
it's just me for right now. I'm getting up every morning and doing it before work. So, I'll be doing it tomorrow morning before I go check out a wedding venue. I'm engaged. So
congratulations again.
Got to go check out a wedding venue, see if it's the winner. We're seeing it at 1 tomorrow. So
all right.
But yeah, we'll be making picks every day and hopefully making some good ones. And if you want to bet based on our picks, or if you want to bet based on how bad we're doing, pick against us, feel free to just go take a look at the website. It is
you're You're a good litmus test either way.
Yep.
What is it again?
Sportspredictions.net.
Sportspredictions.net. I'm sure we could put a graphic up somewhere in post.
I can do one by hand real quick and just put it in front of my webcam.
I should just put put it in the background.
You should have a whiteboard, yeah.
I do. You know what's funny? I do actually have a whiteboard. I need to hang it up. That maybe it'll be next week.
Sweet.
So all right, Thomas, didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead and
hit with a Gino.
Gino.
So you guys know me. I enjoy to talk a lot about the details, but sometimes when things amuse me, I like to talk a little bit more figuratively. So one of the things that was talked about with Russell while he was here was the fact that he never received an MVP vote. And it's obvious that it's something that's really important to him. But now that we've got one of the top quarterbacks in the NFL slanging this thing better than 70% completion, what does it take? Does it take a division title? Does it take a certain number of wins? What is the path?
Are we
talking about getting a vote?
Are we talking about just one vote?
Just to achieve something Russell never did, which was to receive at least one single MVP vote. What does Gino have to do? What does Gino have to do, or what does the team have to do?
Man, I think if they're 10 wins, you have to.
I think if they're in the playoffs, I mean, it doesn't even have to be 10 wins. I think if they're 9-8 and in the playoffs, even as a wild card, I mean,
man, you did that so seamlessly. Like, I have to do math in my head to figure out the fucking end of year wins and losses now because it's 17 games.
Yeah, that's
you just rolled off your tongue.
One harder than 16. You're right. It's really challenging.
Oh, there's my limitation.
Yeah.
I was a college graduate.
I don't think
I graduated college.
I don't think a playoff berth does it, right? I think if they're the 5 or the 6 seed, I think they're a great story and Gino's runaway comeback player of the year. But he's not going to get an MVP vote if they're 9-8 in the 6th seed, right?
It depends. If he keeps playing like this, leading the league in completion percentage, dropping those dimes like he did against New Orleans,
he had some good passes against LA too.
Yeah,
but team full of has-beens and a couple of other will-be's.
Now that DK is, I think he's injured. He's going to be
out
for a couple weeks. Lockett is questionable. It's going to fall on Geno Smith even more. So I mean,
are we going to see Derrick?
They're both officially questionable this week. Neither of them has been ruled out.
Yeah, but also there's a good chance that neither of them will play.
I think there's a good chance Tyler plays, and
I think it's 50-50. I think one does, one doesn't.
Yeah, me too. Okay, so Brian, you think if they're in the playoffs, he gets a vote?
It depends. Again, if he keeps playing at the level he's playing at, where he's leading the league in completion percentage, where he is, you can tell that he is the leader of this team, and this team is having fun, and this team is overachieving.
Well, the question presupposes that he doesn't shit the bed for the rest of the year, because then he's not going to be receiving any MVP votes, right? So the question does presuppose that he does continue a pretty high level of performance.
There's a difference between shitting the bed, though, and there's a difference between shitting the bed and doing what he's doing now. You know, like he could drop to.
He could be average the rest of the year.
He could be.
He's been like top 4, boys.
Exactly. You know, I mean,
ridiculous.
Right now in QBR, it's Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, and Geno Smith.
I know. That's so ridiculous.
And where's Russell?
Doing high knees on an airplane.
Oh my God. Shh.
Wow.
I while we're talking about the Seahawks, I want to add something. How about the fact that there's a very real possibility they could have the offensive and defensive.
I was going to bring that up too. Yeah. I mean, Walker looks like the real deal.
Dude, everyone's been trying to compare him to AP, and I think that's a bit of a stretch. AP's got a different body, but
I have a comparison.
I have one too.
Yeah.
Well, hold on.
I don't, but I would like to hear yours. I will be the judge on who has the better comparison.
Okay.
Before we dig on this one, just give me your quick answer, Nate. What does it take for Gino to get his MVP vote?
Oh yeah. Sorry. I think 10 wins. I think if Seahawks get to 10 wins, that is extremely remarkable. Like, looking at the schedule at the beginning of the season, I don't know what you guys thought. I thought there was 7 wins max, and that's generous, right? You know,
well, and that was going to be 7 wins despite Gino, right? No.
Right. And Pete Carroll always has that Super Bowl, and I thought that Super Bowl win was the Broncos game, and it was going to be a letdown from there, right? Because you saw the 49ers game, and it was
Yeah.
All
right. My answer is if they win the division. I don't tie it to playoffs necessarily or win total. I think if they win the division, that will obviously they will be in the playoffs in that division. That will require them to have won enough games, but it's going to tell you that they kept pace with what is believed to be one of the top two teams in the NFC all season in the 49ers.
So I will say this. I think you guys are honestly saying the same thing because I think 10 wins wins the division.
I think so too.
That's actually not a bad point considering San Francisco started so slow. Interesting.
Rams troubles.
Anyway, we were about to dive on that.
Tariq Woolen and Kenneth Walker.
Player
so
comparison.
give me your Kenneth Walker comparisons, and I will be the judge.
Okay, me first or Thomas first? Thomas?
Nate, go first.
Okay. So mine's kind of a half and half because he's bigger than this guy, okay? But I compare him to Warwick Dunn, but in like a Reggie Bush body size. Because Warwick Dunn had that shifty, but he wasn't afraid to put his nose in your chest, right? I know it's like, I don't know how many people...
So you know, Nate, my favorite football player of the 1990s was Warwick Dunn.
Hey, there you go. So you can make a comment.
So it's like you knew that, and
I didn't know that.
Tugging up my heartstrings here. I loved Warwick Dunn.
I loved how he ran. He was just tiny, right? Like itty bitty.
So here's the problem, right? I mean, Kenneth Walker's 5'9".
Fuck, he seems way bigger than that.
It's because he's skinny.
So, like, your Warwick Dunn comparison is actually really.
Well, I think Warwick Dunn is 5'9" also, right?
Like his AP is 6'1.5".
Yeah, he's a big boy.
All
right, Thomas, who's your comparison?
So my comparison is less of a he reminds me of and more of a this one specific trait reminds me of. Le'Veon Bell.
I have not seen
a back since Le'Veon Bell that has this kind of patience and then goes.
But also he has that. So I mean so we could actually go down a really big rabbit hole because I think Le'Veon Bell is a better version than Sean Alexander, who also had that patience. I know. But what I've seen from Kenneth Walker is his ability to make that cut like in like half a second.
Right? Dude, Warwick Dunn.
Okay.
5'8",
so as the judge,
176.
As the judge, I'm giving it a tie because Le'Veon Bell, if you had me make a comparison, I would also have said Le'Veon Bell, but Warwick Dunn is a great comparison. There's no wrong answer there.
I mean, honestly, the more we're talking about it, I think Warwick Dunn is an amazing comp. It's you almost take that and then you just add that patience, and now you've kind of got it. So Warwick Dunn was 5'8", 176 at the combine. Kenneth Walker's 5'9", 211.
Oh, geez, yeah, that's why seems a lot bigger. he has the most yards after contact already in the NFL.
Crazy.
I can't even believe that.
He looks different, man.
Well, because like his two long ass runs, he got popped at the line and just popped outside.
70-yarder, he was clean the whole way.
But by the way,
he's going
back another Seahawks rookie I want to shout out just because he was a Coug and he has looked amazing.
Oh yeah,
Abe Lucas,
both tackles.
Charles Cross has looked good. But he's a first round pick. He was supposed to be doing this. Abe Lucas as a rookie, 3rd round pick coming in at right tackle and best right tackle for the Seahawks since Sean Locklear.
Yeah, I would say Locklear. Giacomini was just a road grader though. Like he didn't have the finesse. He couldn't get outside.
He's got a similar mindset to Giacomini, but he's got more talent. He's angry like Giacomini, but
they pulled him a few times too, and he's gotten down the line pretty quick, which is really impressive at his size.
Trust me, I've watched it for years.
Yeah.
They wanted to move him. He was the right tackle for the Seahawks or for the Cougs. They never moved him to left tackle. It was always a little bit of a surprise for me, but He is fitting in so well.
Gave him the reps.
FYI,
No,
if you haven't figured it out, Brian is a total Coug homer, as every Cougar is.
Last night's game was so rough.
I didn't watch it, but I saw the final. I apologize.
I watched the whole thing.
What
I was
was
driving
that?
back from Eastern Washington.
I looked at the score when it was 7-7, and I said, "Ooh."
So I was driving back from Eastern Washington, and I'm like, every time I take a work trip, I work base for dinner. And so I try and make it so I can go to Marco Polo on the way back. And I went by and it was like busy as crap. And I was like, oh man, there's a WSU game tonight.
So, yeah, I mean, Walker looks amazing. What were you going to say about Tariq, Ryan?
Well, obviously, when you think of Seahawk rookie defensive backs, the first comment with Tariq Woolen, I mean, you can't not compare him to Richard Sherman.
You have to compare Richard.
They were both 5th round picks. They both were wide receivers in college. They were literally picked one pick apart in the draft. I think Sherman was 195 overall and Woolen was 194.
Similar ball skills.
Woolen has 4 interceptions in 4 straight games. The first Seahawks rookie to do that since Richard Sherman. So, am I wrong? Are you nodding because I'm wrong?
It was Browner.
It was Browner. Yeah.
Oh, it was Browner. Oh,
yeah.
Okay. I apologize.
But I mean, it's the same era, right? That's the point.
It was the same year, wasn't it? Or was
It
Browner
was.
a year before?
Or no, Browner was 2011. Sherman was 2012.
Coming from this Canadian CFL, right?
But anyways, I mean, the comparisons are there. It's just whether or not Woolen is going to have the work ethic that Sherman had and the smarts that Sherman had to take it to the next step and be the best corner in the league.
So everybody, him coming out of college, everybody said how raw his talent is. And they said that he makes up for it in speed. But if you watch the last couple games, at least, I mean, they stopped throwing to him. They threw to him one time last game.
Because they didn't throw at him. Nate's
right.
They
didn't throw at him in the Chargers game at all.
I think they threw at him either once or twice, maybe in the Chargers.
You can tell I've been
max.
In the film room analyzing.
Yeah, he broke up the one pass play against the Chargers. He intercepted against the Cardinals and Hollywood Brown.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like the one play that stands out for me, and I can't remember if it was his first interception or his second interception, where he left his man, a la Richard Sherman. Used his speed to cut off the route and intercepted the ball coming across the field. And I was like, holy smokes, that is a play. That's a football play. That's a high IQ play.
It's interesting that you said that one of the things that they said about him, right, when they got drafted, was, this kid's raw. His ceiling is unbelievable, but it's going to take a while to get him coached up. And you saw some of that in the first couple of games of the season, but, he looks like a starting cornerback. 7 games into his career, he looks like he's doing fine. And that's crazy to see that much growth from draft day to training camp to game 1 to game 7. It's crazy to project.
I think you can say that about Boye Mafe as well. Yeah. He's taken over the starting spot. And dude, as much as Taylor looked like Cliff Averill last year, Boye Mafe looks more like Cliff Averill, which is pretty crazy. Like, he did that shoulder dip. I don't know if anybody caught it. He did a shoulder dip and pressured the QB, and it was like, holy crap, it's Cliff Averill reincarnated. And even though he's not dead,
Cliff Averill's still alive.
I know. But we got a third rookie too that's playing well, is Kobe Bryant in the slot.
More than 3. We got 6.
A third defensive rookie, I should say.
Kobe Bryant leads the league in forced fumbles.
Does he have 3 or 4?
4. And
he looks. Who was the slot guy in the Super Bowl year? The dude that smoke weed. Walter Thurmond. So he was really good at the slot, and then Coleman was really good at the slot.
Jeremy Lane was
Jeremy Lane. Slot. He's cut into that group of players where you bring on the nickel, and they're playing a lot more big nickel now with Neal on the field, which is pretty awesome, and bringing Jones in. Man, the defense last 2 games has just looked like Seahawk old, right? And I know we're harping on the Seahawks a bunch, but
Definitely not by formation, right? Because what we're seeing now is different than everything.
It's a little different.
I mean, even in absolute core concept, right? When we were talking about the Legion of Boom, the thing that I love so much about that team was that they did not disguise anything and they didn't do anything special. They were just fucking better than everyone. Here's what we're gonna do: Earl's over the top, Cam's in the box, man outside. Do your best. And so from a performance perspective, I totally agree that they have really started to look a lot more kind of classic Seahawk over the last couple of weeks. What's impressive to me is that now that the result is starting to feel the same, the method is the absolute opposite.
Yeah.
So for me, that's impressive for a coach like Pete that's been doing it for so long to be self-reflective enough to seek that improvement, to recognize that what they were doing wasn't going to work. They needed a new plan based on the personnel that they had, and they've arrived at a point where they're really performing better. So that really impresses me.
Well, he had a classic 3-4 defense at USC, right, Brian? For a while? When he had the Clay Matthews years and the Polamalu years?
Yeah, because that was Monty Kiffin. Well, no. It was a 4-3 because Monty Kiffin is the one who made
3-4.
Monty Kiffin was the one who made the Tampa 2 famous, right? So yeah, that was a 3-4.
So I don't think it's foreign to him, but he has players that can fit it now, right? Like, so Nwosu is leading the league in quarterback pressures. I don't know if anybody caught that. That's pretty amazing.
Well, it's because he had like 11 last week alone.
Yeah. I know it's a lot of fun. I think they're playing already with house money, so it can't be anything but fun going from here, right? And I think that's really, I don't know. If you like him or hate him, Pete Carroll and John Schneider have again shown that they know more than the average human in football, right? You know, it's impressive. It's really impressive. I'm actually looking at Reggie Bush's page, and I didn't realize he's only 37 years old. He's still very young.
Yeah. He was. I saw him play in college in 2004. WSU was playing USC in Pullman, and it was snowing. So of course, my freshman self thinks, "Oh, it's snowing. USC doesn't know. WSU might have a chance." And WSU goes through this whole thing where their kicker gets injured in pregame. So then their backup kicker comes in. But he wasn't actually injured, but their backup kicker was a better onside kick specialist. And they opened the game with an onside kick, and he kicks it out of bounds. And then USC scores in like 3 plays. Then the Cougs go 3 and out, and Reggie Bush runs back the kick. And it was literally 14-0 less than a minute into the game.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but you were drunk, so it was fine.
Yeah, no, I wasn't. I was only 18. I wasn't drinking.
Oh.
No.
Okay.
Oh,
I was on my best behavior.
That's a good example to set for your future children.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Very responsible, Brian.
All right.
All right. You guys want to touch any other Seahawks topics? We could give our little picks for the week, and then we could move on to something else.
What is the pick for the week? Giants?
Seahawks are favored by 3, I think.
So on a neutral field, it's even?
Yes, and weather's going to be a big factor in this game.
Is it supposed to be nasty?
It's supposed to be rainy. It's supposed to be windy.
And both of them have really good running games, and Seattle's run defense is dog shit.
Seattle's run defense
as much as I hate to say it, if I have to pick, and obviously I do, because of the website, www.sportspredictions.net, I'm going to be probably picking the Giants in this one.
Are we picking against the spread, or are we picking just straight up?
Whatever you want.
If you pick the Seahawks to win by less than 3, that's ballsy.
I think the Seahawks will win by more than 3. I think the run defense is statistically dog shit because they had some big struggles in the early part of the year. But this is a team you can stack the box. You're not worried about Daniel Jones throwing it to who? Who's he going to throw it to? You've increased in confidence so much in your defensive backs, like we just talked about. You know, if they're going to try to stack the box against the run, I am a little bit worried about our linebacker depth. But I'm really impressed with what they've shown the last couple of weeks. I think they got a good shot to keep them under 14, 17 points. And Gino's been doing his thing. I think you could see like a 27-17 Seahawks win, something like that.
They just traded Kadarius Toney also. So
Who wasn't doing much, but their leading receiver has like 109 yards this season.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Stack the box, make him throw it, win the game.
We could make like a pretty simple transition to two teams with two quarterbacks that are surprising to two teams with quarterbacks that are struggling.
Wow, that was a seamless transition, Nate.
Not seamless.
You should leave those to me.
It would have been more seamless if we wouldn't have highlighted it.
All right, Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady. Who's having the worst year?
In football or in life?
Both.
Oh,
I think
Tom Brady's having a worse year in life. Aaron Rodgers has no understanding of how much of an asshole he is, so he can't possibly have bad life.
Tom Brady lost Gronkowski. That's it.
Sidebar. JT Realmuto just hit a home run in the top of the 10th inning, and it's now 6-5 Phillies.
Man, let's turn this on in the background.
God, I fucking hate.
Sorry, guys. I figured you guys would want to know that. He hit it off of Luis Garcia. Too bad no one for the Mariners could do that in 5 innings.
Oh, man. That guy's really good, though.
I hate his windup.
Oh, man. His windup is worse than Cueto.
Cueto's hilarious. It's like he's having a seizure.
So annoying. I think Garcia's is more annoying just because it takes a month and a half, or it doesn't. Cueto's like quirky and weird.
Yeah, I mean, Garcia has to rock the baby, and then he has to take a step, and then he has to turn his whole body. It's brutal. I think he's a good pitcher, but
he's a very good
brutal
pitcher
to watch.
It's shitty that they can bring in a guy of that pedigree against the Mariners. And
what's shitty to me is how good of a season Rafael Montero had.
I think it was a throw.
What's shitty to me is that Robbie Ray thought it was a good idea to pipe 2 fastballs to Yordan Alvarez. But
all right, we're getting off track here, gentlemen. We're getting off track. Let's get back to the 2 ageless wonders.
I mean, I could have pitched. I would have walked him. That would have been better.
No, not having Joe Buck call the World Series really weird, by the way.
I've been really unimpressed by all of the playoff commentating.
I really enjoyed hearing Costas back.
I haven't heard. Was he on the NL side?
He was on the Yankees series with the
Astros.
Astros.
You know what? He did the Cleveland game as well. He did one of the Cleveland.
Did you hear that?
Yes.
Sorry. Nate's doing some in-game research.
So, anyways, I'll talk about Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers a little bit. I'm going to talk about. Well, first of all, they both had a rough week. I mean, Tom Brady obviously getting divorced and losing already this week. Honestly, I could hear a story about anything that Tom Brady did this weekend, and I would believe it. Like, I could hear a story that Tom Brady went to Thailand and, had some fun with the locals there. And I would believe it. Like, it's crazy now how quickly he has descended. I mean, and then you got Aaron Rodgers, who's literally calling out his team and calling out players on his team. Now, he didn't mention anyone by names, but he definitely called out his team. And the next day, his coach basically just said, yeah, he's right. Like,
which is crazy because if you read between the lines about what Rodgers said, he basically said the coaches aren't doing their jobs.
Yeah. And he just said, yeah, he's right. Like, I know Rodgers. I think Rodgers is older than LaFleur, but still,
I think they're close.
Still, man, like, stand up for yourself. Like, you've gone 13-3 the last 2 seasons as head coach. Yeah, Aaron Rodgers was your quarterback, but you had something to do with it as well. This is the first time Matt LaFleur has seen any adversity as the Green Bay Packers head coach. and he is just basically deferring to anything Aaron Rodgers says. Like, grow a spine, dude.
Well, I mean, that's why he was brought in, though, wasn't it?
He was brought in because he doesn't have a spine.
No, because he would acquiesce to whatever Rodgers wanted.
Well, I mean, that's why Nathaniel Hackett was brought in.
Oh man,
He's having a great year.
Fuck.
He's already talking about giving up play calling.
It's better though. So, dude, guys, we could get 4 picks in the top 40.
I know. I was looking at it the other day.
That's
They're at number 7 right now. We had
40.
number 9 last year, right?
I don't want 4 picks in the top 40 because if we have 4 picks in the top 40, that means our second round pick isn't very good.
No. The one and the 2 last year and the one and the 2 next year.
Sorry. Yes.
Because you got 2 1s, 2 2s.
Right.
The
But
one and the 2
From
this
Denver
year
only
were top
considering
40.
Denver picks.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, the 2 last year.
So potentially we could have 1 top 10 pick and 32 this year.
And then another top 40 pick this year.
We're not winning the Super Bowl, boys.
No, but you got to figure probably top 10, and then if they make the playoffs, late teens, or
like 20, yeah.
Okay, fine. Let's say they pick 10 and 20. Well, then that means they're picking 42 and 52 in the second round, or I guess 41 and 51 because the Dolphins don't have a first round pick this year. So
that's true.
You guys
interesting.
didn't know that,
That's a big pull, man.
About that.
I heard it on.
That's crazy. Today. I mean, God, the Tom Brady stuff over the last 2 years is crazy. That whole dumb shit in Miami was all Brady too. Man,
like I said, honestly, you could hear any story about Tom Brady and you would absolutely believe it.
I love that point, right?
Okay, so I have
this
to admit,
weekend. Okay.
I have to admit, I did not come up with that on my own.
Oh,
that is 100% Bill Simmons.
I like the honesty.
Bill Simmons calls it the Tyson zone because you could literally hear a story about Mike Tyson, and it doesn't matter what the story is, you would believe it.
So Brady's in the Tyson zone this weekend.
That's exactly what Bill Simmons said. So I am 100% stealing that from him.
So I have a question for y'all. Did Tom Brady all of a sudden get old, or is Foles at fault?
I think it's the people around him.
It's the same people though. He lost Gronkowski. That's it.
No, his offensive line isn't as good, right? Chris Godwin is gone. Antonio Brown, even though he's batshit crazy, is gone. The receivers are not as talented. I mean, Julio Jones was brought in, and he's a shell of his former self. You got Mike Evans, and then who that he's throwing the ball to?
Well, I think
the defense isn't as good this year.
The defense is dog shit.
Shaq Barrett just tore his ACL. He's done for the year.
Mm-hmm.
It's
at 33 or whatever it is.
It's the same people, but they're not having as good a year. So it's not just on Brady.
No, it's not just on Brady, but I mean, the hallmark of his career has always been his work ethic and his focus. And it's pretty easy to see how he may not have been as focused so far this season.
Well, he did the Masked Singer.
Did he really?
I think he actually did. He hasn't been announced yet, but I really think he did.
The Bulls is a defensive guy, right?
Yeah.
And BA is an offensive guy. So that could be playing into it too, where he had an offensive-minded guy at the helm last year. He's got a defensive guy at the helm this year.
Is Bruce Arians that good?
I mean, I personally dislike him a lot, and I'm not a football expert enough to know whether he's good or not. Everyone else seems to think he's good at what he does. People love to play for him.
He's good at staying out of the way.
He's good at beating the Seahawks in Seattle with dog shit Cardinal teams.
He's good at punching his players in the helmet when they have a concussion.
So is Jimmy Lake.
Didn't he do that?
Jimmy Lake pushed the guy. He didn't hit him in the head.
Oh, is that what happened? Jimmy Lake punched the guy in the helmet?
Bruce Arians, yes, he's a good coach. But I think the best thing that he did for the Buccaneers the last 2 years was not tell Tom Brady what to do.
Right.
Brady's first year, they were terrible until the bye.
Yeah.
And then they basically just said, all right, just do what you're comfortable doing to Brady. And then they didn't lose again.
And they won a Super Bowl.
And they won the Super Bowl. They tried that last year, and they were the 2 seed in the NFC, right? So they had success doing it. Now, the difference is, Thomas, you are 100% right. Brady is not as focused this year. And I was kidding about the Masked Singer, and maybe his relationship with Giselle had something to do with it. Maybe the fact that he's looking to the future has something to do with it, but he is not as focused. And when he isn't as focused, it brings the rest of the team down, because this team is a bunch of prima donnas and head cases. Leonard Fournette.
He's Jordan-esque in that way, where the level that he's at all the time forces the people around him to come to him, right?
Absolutely. But he isn't that this year.
Right.
He's like Jordan with the Wizards. He's just not that. He's mentally checked out from where he has been in the past.
Yeah. All right. So that's Seahawks, Rodgers, and Brady. What else you guys got? We can touch Mariners a little bit.
Give me some World Series predictions here. Give me some World Series predictions.
Oh, it's hard that we're recording this on Friday, game 1.
Brian, do you want something to post on your website?
Absolutely.
What's the over-under on how many games I will watch?
1.5.
Yeah, I'd take the under.
Wait, innings or games?
Either.
I'd say 1. I bet you turn it on and like glance at it periodically.
I watched a few innings earlier today, but I think
it's hard to
it's baseball, man. Yeah, I hate the Astros, but it's baseball.
It's the most hateable team and the most hateable city in the country playing in the World Series.
Yeah.
Like,
but think about this. This is what the Astros' 4th World Series in 6 years, right?
Yeah.
They won 1, and it was against the Dodgers.
Trastros.
They lost to the Nationals. NL East.
20.
They lost to the Braves. NL East. Now they're playing the Phillies. NL East. It's like Brady in Super Bowls with the NFC East. Brady lost to the Giants twice and the Eagles, all in the NFC East. The NL East is the Astros kryptonite. That is why I am going with the Phillies in 7.
You think it's got 7?
I do. But they gotta get this game.
They can take one in Houston. Is it 2-3-2?
I think it's 2-2-1-1-1.
Oh, that is awful travel.
It's been like that for years.
I thought it was 2-3-2.
I'm pretty sure it's 2-2-1-1-1.
Y'all fill time. This is where we need the Jeopardy music.
Oh man, it's hard to pick against the Astros. They're so good.
Tucker is so good.
I think it's Astros in 5. I don't care about the story.
Hey, free taco today though. Kyle Schwarber stole a base.
Yeah, 2-3-2.
It is 2-3-2.
So if they take game 1 away, come home 1-1, and get 2 out of 3, I think it still goes 7. Yeah, you're probably right.
Astros in 5. Book it.
It's booked. All right. Do you guys each want a question, or are we all answering the same question?
Let's all answer the same question.
All right. The question is.
You didn't like that one?
Well, okay. It was what makes you cry. And sorry, Nate, I'm not asking you that question.
Bad timing for that.
Yeah.
Can I answer that one?
Very quickly, because I do have an actual question here that all three of us can answer.
When my mustache is this long and I drink a beverage with a tab, sometimes my little mustache It gets stuck in there, and I'm enjoying a nice beverage. Then when I pull it away from my head, it like yanks it out, and that makes me cry, man. That hurts so bad.
All right, that's fair. Okay, random question. Nate, we're going to come to you first here.
Oh,
You ready? What are you a natural at?
oh man. I think they go hand in hand. I am a natural at spatial awareness. I can like
Explain.
so like when I worked in a warehouse, I was really good at working in a warehouse, right? I could like figure out where things went to be most efficient and where things like could stack properly to make space. And then I think that lends to what I'm also pretty good at naturally is just like my ball skills in softball and baseball, right? And I kind of, when I'm locked in, I can understand where things are going, right? Even like when I have a shortstop that throws a weird ball that tails 4 inches.
It's a sinker.
Yeah. It's more like a rising screwball thing. But yeah, I think like my ability to understand spatial awareness is pretty awesome.
All right. Thomas, you're up. What are you a natural at?
I think there's a few ways that I could go with this. You know, Nate, having worked with me, I think you could guess some of the number things that I might say, but I think an easy answer for me is golf. You've golfed with me, Brian. I think it came to me really easily when I was a kid, and it's something I haven't really ever lost, even if I only play a couple rounds a year. So really fortunate in that way. I think it's something a lot of people struggle with, and it's pretty easy for me. So
I will agree.
As a person who has played with you, I will agree as well.
Yeah,
It
like
pisses
that.
me off, actually,
It's-
how
I went out-
effortless the game of golf is for you.
It's like my second round of the year a couple of weeks ago when I went with my dad and all his buddies on a hunting trip in Eastern Washington. I went out and shot 72 on Friday. I mean, it's like a par 68 or something, so it's like a short little course, but still, it's like.
I played at Semiahmoo on a Saturday, and I shot a 95, and I was pretty happy about that. Actually, I have lost 4 strokes off my handicap this year, so
Nice.
I have gotten a lot better.
Yeah. Well, at Semiahmoo, that's not a real gimme. That's a little challenging course, I think.
It was, and the greens, like you couldn't tell what it was doing from hole to hole. Like one hole was playing super fast, next hole was playing super slow. It was frustrating, but it was still a good time.
How about you, Brian? What are you a natural at?
I am a natural at making situations that should be awkward, not awkward.
More awkward.
Disagree.
Not awkward. Case in point, first time I met my fiance's parents. Nerve-wracking for some people. I was never worried for a second. I'm very, very good at not to toot my own horn here, but I am.
Right. The question you've asked is, what are you a natural at? This is an exercise.
I'm very good at reading a situation and knowing when to talk and when to shut up. Granted, it's not very often that I do shut up, but I know when to. And then I went up and went over to her parents' house for her dad's birthday, and she was more nervous than I was because it's comfortable for me, talking to parents, and it's just something that's never really been an issue for me. And I think it's because I can literally talk to anyone. I'm definitely my father's son. I'm half Italian, so just love talking to people. So
did you ask them for permission to marry her?
I did.
That's really nice, Brian.
I did. We got engaged in Vegas, and her parents drove us to the airport. And I asked him before we got on the plane.
Did she know?
She says she has an idea, but I don't think she did.
That's awesome. I will agree with that statement because you are good at diffusing funny situations with like, I mean, I know a lot of you around softball, obviously.
Yeah, he
and
doesn't do much.
I'm also
diffusing
good at
on the
starting
softball.
those situations
Hold
too,
on.
though.
There are a few times that Brian would interject into like a really awkward, weird situation with like humor, and it was like perfect because it just like brought the temperature down.
Oh, I've got a
And-
good story about that.
Oh, so do I.
Hit it.
Let me tell mine first.
Okay.
So I coached 7th grade basketball. I was coaching the B team, and we were scrimmaging against the A team. So it was like varsity, junior varsity. So of course,
Mr. T was there?
we're scrimmaging against them, but we're
Who was
not
Hannibal?
supposed to be doing any. We're not supposed to be playing well at all. So sure enough,
Did
we're
they-
getting our asses kicked.
Is their van even running still?
Shut up. So sure enough, we're getting our asses kicked, and I just looked over at my players, and they're so dejected. Like they wanted to beat these guys so bad, but they just weren't as talented. And I just looked over at them and I'm like, guys, I'm very disappointed in you. Y'all look up at me like, oh, what? We're trying our hardest. I'm like, I'm very disappointed in you guys. I got new shoes today, and none of you noticed.
Nice.
And it released the tension so much. And I said, look, guys, just have fun, play hard. That's all I want you guys to do. And after that, we were keeping up with them. But that's the situation. That's the stuff that I do.
Mm-hmm.
So, go ahead, Thomas. Your turn.
It's my story. It was too long and only funny to me, so I don't need to tell it.
Well, it's like in Saving Private Ryan when Tom Hanks's character, everybody's like infighting and he's like, what's the bet up to about me? Like everybody's like, what? Just
Exactly.
kind of out of the blue statement. Those are really effective sometimes.
Yep.
Yeah, I like that. I remember one time, I think it was Mark and I were bickering about something, and some dumbass other player, whoever it was, like started to get involved because he actually thought that Mark and I were like upset at each other. And Brian comes walking, and it was at it was at Liberty Park, and we're in the left-hand dugout, and Brian just comes sauntering over. He's like, isn't the fucking like sunset beautiful tonight? And we're just like, what? And we just like forgot about what we were saying. And it was just because you were sick and tired of it, like hearing Mark and I just do our thing, I have to agree. You're pretty good at that.
Well, this whole thing started because I was sick of you two doing this.
We haven't gotten into it yet.
I started interjecting, and now we have a podcast.
Yeah, I'm trying to like not yell over people and argue. As soon as we actually have an agenda and we have something to stick to, I'm sure
it'll get
I'll
fun.
be more willing to go rogue and scream and yell and argue.
All right. Till next time, everybody. And if anybody has anything they want us to talk about, shoot us an email, oursportspredictions@gmail.com. Send it on over to us, and we'll argue about it. Thanks, everybody.
Party people.